Hi, my name is Jonathan. Welcome to my very first YouTube video. I am a software engineer based in Seattle, originally from Australia, and the end of 2020 marked my 5th year as a full-time developer. So, being my very first video, I just kind of want to introduce myself, say hi, and let's just chat. Mainly, mainly thinking about what I've learned in the past 5 years and what I want to do with this YouTube channel. So let's just kind of dive in. So for the first couple of years or first couple of jobs, I was working in really small teams. It was always just me and one other dev. And being kind of early in my career, I never felt like I could ask for help. And thinking back on that, I think I would have saved myself so much headaches if I just asked. If I just asked a question of hey, how does this work? Or can you explain this concept to me? And I don't know why I didn't. I think part of me was fearful, right? That I was failing if I asked for help, and also, they always seemed so busy. It was because it was just them doing a lot of that work, and I didn't want to interrupt them. But yeah, thinking back on it, definitely ask for help. I'm super grateful that I found the Code Newbie community. And I highly suggest this if you are in a small team like this and you don't feel like you have that support or you can ask for help within that team. Look at your community, look at Twitter, or there's a bunch of other great Slack channels or Discord channels out there, and get in there and ask for that support. The next kind of two companies that I worked at, and my current company, have all been kind of larger companies with dev teams greater than 2 devs. So that's super exciting. And obviously a huge learning curve that's very different to working in a very small team. And I think the main takeaway that I got from working at these companies is communication is probably the most important thing that you can work on. I would say being able to communicate an idea clearly or a problem really clearly is more important, if not just as important, as writing good code. Some advice that I've had from my managers in these past companies has been to do things publicly, be that person on the Slack channel answering questions and things like that. I think that's where communication really comes in as well. If you can answer a question really well, then you start becoming that go-to person. And from what I've heard, that's how you get promoted. That's how you kind of advance up the career ladder. And I kind of wish it wasn't that case. I kind of wish it was just based on merit. But I think a lot of it is based on just visibility, because your managers don't know what you're doing unless other people tell them, or unless you are kind of telling them. Which kind of leads me to my next point. Have a career document. I think that's one of the best things that I've kind of learned over my journey as a dev, is saving a document that you can carry between jobs, and it contains information like you finished X feature and it generated Y revenue. Having these really concrete examples not only helps you in your yearly reviews with your manager, it could also bulk up your resume as well. If you're looking at other jobs, you already have a source of information to pull from. And then finally, if you save pieces of praise through emails or Slacks, it's also just a nice document to look back on. Especially, I like a lot of other people go through imposter syndrome. It's always nice to see these pieces of information to kind of help validate that yes, you are growing as a developer. So on the topic of big companies, I want to talk about context, because understanding context and understanding it really fast is kind of the best way to onboard onto a new code base. And I think that's something that's overlooked a little bit, because you have your onboarding documentation, which is do this to get this set up, or install this program, go to these meetings, but that doesn't really show you how things actually work, or I guess more importantly, why they work that way. I think having historical context is super important, and my favorite way of doing that is just grabbing a developer and just pairing with them. And then obviously, once you understand a little bit about the code base, start expanding that domain knowledge to gain business context and stuff like that. I think, obviously onboarding onto a code base is really great, but having that context is something I've seen senior and principal engineers do really well, and they are able to make really big, impactful decisions because they understand how everything just works in the first place. And my final tip is don't compare yourself to others. I find that really hard. I struggle with it every single day because I see like awesome devs doing really awesome things. And I wish I could be them, but I just realize I don't have the time, or don't have the resources or the know-how to actually do what they're doing. And I think the biggest transformation that I've had to make was knowing that I'm on my own journey, they're on their own journey. Maybe they have like a team behind them, but this journey is like a non-linear path and everyone's kind of doing their own thing, and that's okay. So yes, final tip, don't compare yourself to others. It will make you sleep better at night, I promise that. And that's it. That's all the tips. I hope you enjoyed this very first video. I guess I want to talk a little bit about like what I'm planning for this channel. I honestly have no idea, but it will be developer focused. I might be doing some more videos like this. I kind of want to do something where I break down what I'm working on and explain why, because I think there's a lot of how-to tutorials out there, but maybe not a lot of like why I do this. So that's something that I'm really interested in. I'm really excited to kind of go on this journey, and I hope you are too, and I hope to see you soon. So if you want to, I guess, stay tuned to this, hit subscribe. Is that what they say? I don't know. Well, until next time, bye.